48 trash bins buried my driveway. Industrial garbage rotting in 85-degree heat. Flies. Stench. My entire mountain paradise blocked. And I'm holding a court injunction threatening me with $50,000 if I touch them. The HOA president, attorney Danielle Richardson, smiled from her Mercedes and drove off. She thinks she won. Thinks she can fabricate violations, abuse power, and steal my 4-acre lakefront property I built with my bare hands. Thinks she's untouchable. Fatal mistake. Those trash bins. Leased from MY Former Waste Company. She just weaponized my own equipment against me. And when I uncovered her $200,000 embezzlement scheme, her luxury condo development plans, and her midnight arson attempt with gasoline and matches, everything changed. This is how I turned her corruption into the most poetic revenge in HOA history. Stay until the end. The final move is absolutely perfect. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from because I need to know how far this justice travels. I'm standing on my wraparound porch, coffee steaming in my hands. Morning mist rolling off Lake Serenity like something out of a postcard. The Green Ridge Mountains tower behind my property, massive evergreens reflected perfectly in glass-still water. This view never gets old. Never. I built this dream with my bare hands. Literally. Every board, every stone, every native plant carefully chosen to blend seamlessly into the wilderness. For acres of absolute sanctuary. Cedar siding that smells like Christmas year-round. Stone chimney, I mortared myself. Garden beds overflowing with wildflowers. A workshop where I build custom furniture as therapy. This is what 8 figures buys you when you sell a waste management empire. Freedom. My nearest neighbor? Quarter-mile away through dense pine forest. No noise. No drama. No people telling me what to do with my own land. Or so I thought. 3 months ago, everything changed. A letter arrived. Cream-colored envelope. Westwood Ridge HOA logo embossed in gold. Very official. Very threatening. Violation notice. My unapproved gravel driveway. The same driveway that's been here since I bought the land. My excessive garden beds. Native plants, for God's sake. My non-conforming mailbox. A custom cedar post that matches my house perfectly. I laughed it off. Tossed it in the recycling. Big mistake. Second letter arrived 2 weeks later. $500 fine attached. For violations I never committed. On property that's mine. I called the number listed. A woman answered. Sharp voice. Sharper attitude. Westwood Ridge HOA, Danielle Richardson speaking. Yeah, I got your letter. There's been a mistake. I'm not part of any HOA. Silence. Then a cold laugh. Mr. Crawford, you're in our jurisdiction whether you like it or not. The previous owners signed a covenant. That contract follows the land. My jaw clenched. I reviewed my title documents. There's no HOA covenant. Nothing. Then you reviewed them incorrectly. You have 30 days to comply or face legal action. She hung up on me. On me. I pulled every document from my safe. Title insurance. Property survey. Deed. Purchase agreement. Attorney closing documents. Nothing. No HOA covenant anywhere. But Danielle Richardson doesn't care about facts. She cares about control. Third letter arrived with a lawyer's letterhead. Threatening litigation. Demanding $2,000 in accumulated fines. Claiming I'm in willful violation of community standards. Community standards for a community I don't belong to. I should have hired an attorney right then. Should have fought back legally, properly, systematically. But I'm a builder. A problem solver. I thought reason would prevail. Wrong again. This morning, this perfect mountain morning with mist and coffee and peace, I walked outside to discover my entire driveway buried. 40 trash bins. Maybe 50. Industrial size. Overflowing with rotting garbage. 200 feet of pristine gravel completely invisible under a wall of stinking waste. Flies swarming like biblical plague. Stench burning my nostrils. My golden retriever Summit won't even come outside. My truck's blocked. Workshop inaccessible. Everything I need to live my life. Trapped behind festering garbage. And there's a note taped to my front door. Handwritten. Neat cursive. Comply or suffer. Dr. Danielle Richardson. My hands are shaking. Not from fear. From rage. Pure, white-hot rage. I grab my phone. Dial the county. This is Jake Crawford on Timber Ridge Road. Someone dumped commercial waste on my property. The dispatcher sounds bored. File a complaint online. There are 50 trash bins blocking my driveway. Sir, if it's an HOA dispute, that's civil. I hang up. Call my attorney. Voicemail. He's on vacation. Of course he is. So I do what any rational person does. I start dragging bins off my property. 10 minutes in, I'm drenched in sweat. Hands blistering. Back screaming. That's when the Mercedes SUV pulls up. Danielle Richardson steps out wearing designer sunglasses and a smile that could freeze hell itself. Tampering with HOA-mandated corrective measures, Mr. Crawford? I'm breathing hard, covered in garbage residue. Get these off my land. She hands me another envelope. Court injunction. You remove these bins. We sue for $50,000. Destruction of HOA property. My blood pressure spikes so fast I see spots. You don't own these bins. Her smile widens. Actually, we lease them. From Summit Waste Services. Ironically appropriate name, wouldn't you say? Given your little mountain retreat here. She doesn't know. She has absolutely no idea. Summit Waste Services. My company. The one I founded 20 years ago. Built from nothing. Sold for 8 figures, but retained 30% equity in. The one where I'm still on the board of directors. The one whose CEO is my best friend from college. I watched Danielle Richardson drive away in her Mercedes, that smug smile plastered across her face. She just made the biggest mistake of her entire life. I'm staring at a wall of rotting garbage in 85-degree heat. Meat scraps. Diapers. Something that might have been food a week ago. The flies are so thick they sound like static electricity. The stench physically burns, like acid in my throat. Summit won't even come outside. My dog. My hiking companion, who loves every second outdoors. He's hiding in the house. I grab my phone again. Hands still shaking. But not from rage anymore. From calculation. I pull up my contacts. Marcus Thompson, CEO of Summit Waste Services. My former protege. My current business partner. It rings twice. Jake, how's retirement treating you? Mark, I need you to pull a contract. Westwood Ridge HOA. Signed within the last month. I hear keyboard clicking. Give me a sec. Okay, got it. Westwood Ridge HOA. Commercial lease. 40 industrial bins. 6 months. What? Who signed it? Danielle Richardson. President. Wait, is this the HOA that's been harassing you? She leased your bins to destroy MY property. Silence. Then Marcus starts laughing. Deep, gasping laughter. You're kidding. I'm standing in front of 50 bins of rotting garbage right now. Oh, Jake. Oh, this is beautiful. She has no idea who she's messing with, does she? Not yet. What's the contract say? More clicking. 6-month lease. $8,000 monthly. Jesus, she's paying premium rates. And there's a fraud clause in Section 7.3. If the equipment is used for purposes other than stated in the lease agreement, we can terminate immediately with financial penalties. My brain starts racing. What did she list as the purpose? Neighborhood beautification, storage, and waste management optimization. What does that even mean? It means she lied. Send me the full contract. I need every clause, every loophole, every penalty provision. Jake, what are you planning? War, Mark. I'm planning war. I hang up and stare at the bins. My mind's already 10 steps ahead. But first, I need to document everything. I spend the next hour taking photos, videos, timestamps, measurements. I walk the entire perimeter of my property, filming the scope of this attack. Because that's what this is. An attack. Neighbors across the lake are starting to notice. I see them on their docks, pointing. The smell is carrying on the wind. Good. Let them see what Danielle Richardson does to people who challenge her authority. I'm uploading everything to cloud storage when my phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer. Hello. Heavy breathing. Then, you should have complied, Crawford. Male voice. Deep. Threatening. Who is this? Someone who knows what's good for you. Drop this HOA thing. Sell your property. Leave. Or things get much worse. Is that a threat? It's a promise. The line goes dead. I immediately screenshot the call log. Send it to myself via email. Document. Everything. My attorney finally calls back. Jake. Sorry, I was deep sea fishing with no signal. What's going on? I explain everything. The letters. The bins. The injunction. The threatening call. He's silent for a long moment. Jake, this is serious. This is harassment. Possibly criminal intimidation. But fighting an HOA, even an illegal one, gets expensive fast. We're talking $50,000 minimum in legal fees. I don't care about the money. I know, but there's something else. Danielle Richardson? I know that name. She's a real estate attorney. Practices in Seattle. Has a reputation for aggressive litigation tactics. She won't back down easy. Neither will I. Good. Because I think this is bigger than HOA violations. I think she wants your land. The pieces start clicking into place. My property sits on the only buildable access road up the mountain ridge. Prime development location. Multi-million-dollar views. This isn't about gravel driveways or mailboxes. This is about real estate. And Danielle Richardson is willing to destroy me to get it. Draw up everything. I tell my attorney. Countersuit. Harassment. Defamation. Intentional infliction of emotional distress. I want her buried in legal paperwork. That'll take a few days. I've got time. Because in 48 hours, I'm going to solve the garbage problem myself. I hang up and text Marcus. Terminate the contract. Fraud clause. Make it personal liability, not HOA liability. Send it directly to Danielle Richardson. His response comes immediately. You're serious? Dead serious. She weaponized our company against me. Time to turn those weapons around. 3 dots appear. Disappear. Appear again. Then, contract termination notice going out tomorrow morning. This is going to be fun. I walk back outside. The bins are still there. Garbage still rotting. Flies still swarming. But I'm smiling now. Because Danielle Richardson thinks she's won. She thinks she's broken me. She has no idea what's coming. Tomorrow, everything changes. That night, I can't sleep. Not because of stress. Because my brain won't stop working. I'm in my home office, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the moonlit lake, pulling every record I can find. Property survey. Title insurance documents. County parcel maps. Historical deeds going back 40 years. I need to understand exactly what I'm dealing with. 2 hours in, I find it. The truth. My property, parcel number 47-92-018, was never part of Westwood Ridge HOA. The boundaries are clearly marked on the county plat map. The HOA ends 200 feet from my western fence line. Different parcel. Different legal description. Different ownership history. I'm completely outside their jurisdiction. Danielle Richardson is operating on a deliberate lie. But it gets better. I start digging into her background. LinkedIn profile. Property records. Court filings. Business registrations. Danielle isn't just HOA president. She's a real estate attorney specializing in property development. Partner at Richardson and Associates in Seattle. She knows property law inside and out. She knows I'm outside the HOA boundaries. This isn't a mistake or misunderstanding. It's calculated fraud. I dig deeper. Pull public records from the county assessor's office. 3 years ago, right before I bought this land, there was another bidder. DR Properties, LLC. Registered owner, Danielle Richardson. She tried buying my land. Lost the bidding war. And now she's using the HOA as a weapon to force me out. My hands grip the desk. Knuckles white. She's been planning this for 3 years. I keep searching. Find more. Complaints filed with the HOA against Danielle Richardson. 6 different homeowners over the past 2 years. Harassment. Unauthorized fines. Abuse of power. Threatening behavior. All dismissed by the HOA board. Because I pull the board member list, and everything makes sense. President, Danielle Richardson. Treasurer, Margaret Richardson. Her sister. Secretary, Ron Patterson. Her brother-in-law. Married to Margaret. Vice President, Elizabeth Morrison. College roommate. I find their sorority photos on Facebook. It's not an HOA board. It's a family dictatorship. And they've been bilking residents for years. I find financial statements. Publicly available under HOA transparency laws. Emergency drainage project, last year, $40,000. I cross-reference with county permits. No permit was ever filed. No work was ever done. $40,000. Vanished. Roof repairs on the community center, $28,000. I pull up Google Earth historical imagery. The roof looks identical to 5 years ago. More money. Gone. Landscaping improvements. $35,000 paid to Mountain View Landscaping. I searched the business registration. Owner, Ronald Patterson. Danielle's brother-in-law. They're funneling HOA dues into their own pockets through fake contracts and inflated invoices. This is fraud. Wire fraud. Embezzlement. Federal crimes. I'm compiling a spreadsheet, dates, amounts, suspicious contracts, when my phone rings. 2:47 a.m. Unknown number again. I answer but don't speak. Heavy breathing. Same as before. Then, drop this, Crawford. Last warning, or you'll regret it. Who is this? Ron? Margaret? Danielle put you up to this. Silence. Then the breathing gets heavier. Angrier. You think you're smart? You think you can fight us? We own this community. We own the police chief. He lives in our HOA. We own the county commissioner. Her daughter's married to Danielle's cousin. You're alone out there on your little mountain. Isolated. Vulnerable. My blood runs cold. Not from fear. From understanding. This is organized. Connected. Deeper than I thought. Touch my property again, I say quietly, and I'll destroy all of you. Legally. Financially. Publicly. Your choice. Big talk for someone surrounded by garbage. The line goes dead. I sit in the darkness, staring at my spreadsheet. They think I'm isolated. Vulnerable. Alone. They have no idea what kind of resources I have. What kind of connections I've built over 20 years in business. The waste management industry isn't glamorous. But it's connected. Networked. We know contractors, developers, city officials, county inspectors, and we know how to dig up dirt. Literally and figuratively. I open my laptop and start a new document. Evidence file, Richardson HOA fraud. I work until sunrise. Compiling, cross-referencing, building an airtight case. By the time light breaks over the mountains, I have 47 pages of documented fraud. Bank statements showing suspicious transfers. Invoices for work never completed. Contracts with family members at inflated rates. Communications proving Danielle knew I was outside HOA jurisdiction. Everything. I send encrypted copies to 3 different people, my attorney, Marcus at Summit Waste, and my accountant who specializes in forensic analysis. Then I do something Danielle won't expect. I request attendance at tonight's HOA board meeting. Under state law, HOA meetings must be open to community residents. And technically, I am a community resident, just not an HOA member. I'm going to walk into their meeting. With evidence. With documentation. With cameras recording everything. And I'm going to expose them in front of every homeowner they've been stealing from. Danielle Richardson wants war? She's about to get one. I don't sleep. Can't sleep. My mind is racing through scenarios, strategies, contingencies, legal angles, financial pressure points, psychological warfare tactics. At 6 a.m., I'm on the phone with Marcus Thompson. Mark, I need a favor. A big one. Name it. I explain everything. The HOA corruption, the embezzlement, the threatening calls, Danielle's development plans for my land, the fake violations and garbage siege. When I finish, Marcus is laughing so hard I hear coffee sputtering on his end. Wait. She leased our bins to harass you? The guy who built this company? Oh, Jake. This is absolutely beautiful. This is poetic. Can you pull the full contract? Every clause. Already looking, here it is. Westwood Ridge HOA. Signed by Danielle Richardson personally. 6-month commercial lease. 40 units at $8,000 monthly. My brain explodes. $8,000 a month. Yep. Premium rate. And get this, she told residents in the HOA newsletter it was for neighborhood beautification storage. I'm reading the newsletter archive right now. She claimed it would cost $2,000 monthly. She's pocketing a $6,000 difference. More fraud. More evidence. Mark, what's the termination clause? Section 7.3. If equipment is used for purposes materially different from stated purpose, or if equipment is used to commit harassment, fraud, or illegal activity, Summit Waste reserves the right to immediately terminate with financial penalties. Daily penalties of $10,000 assessed to the signing party. Personally, not the organization. Personal liability? That's what it says. She signed as Danielle Richardson, president, but the liability clause specifically names her as individual guarantor. Standard for small business leases. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Mark, I need you to do exactly what I say. Terminate the contract. Fraud clause. Send the notice directly to Danielle Richardson, her home address, and her law office. Certified mail. Email. Every method possible. Give her 24 hours to remove all equipment or face $10,000 daily penalties. Make it clear the penalties are personal, her liability, not the HOA's. Silence on the line. Jake, you're sure? She's going to lose her mind. That's the point. I want her panicked, making mistakes, exposing herself, and the bins. After 24 hours, send a retrieval crew. Document the condition of every bin. Photograph the garbage, the property damage, everything. Then send her an itemized bill, retrieval costs, cleaning costs, disposal costs, property damage assessment. Make it $50,000. Personal liability. You're going to bankrupt her. No, I'm going to give her a choice. Back off completely or face financial destruction. Marcus is quiet for a moment. Then, I love it. Contract termination notice goes out in 2 hours. We spend another hour planning logistics. Timing. Documentation procedures. Media strategy, because this is going to get public. By the time I hang up, I have a complete battle plan. Phase 1. Terminate the garbage bin contract. Apply financial pressure. Phase 2. Expose the embezzlement at tonight's HOA meeting. Turn residents against her. Phase 3. File criminal complaints with county prosecutor. Let the legal system grind her down. Phase 4. Civil lawsuit for harassment, defamation, property damage. Bleed her dry in legal fees. Phase 5. The final move. The one that ensures she never tries this again. I spend the day documenting everything. Taking more photos of the bins. Recording video statements. Organizing my evidence files. The garbage has been rotting for 6 days now. The smell is unbearable. County Health Department already issued me a violation notice for conditions someone else created on my property. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so infuriating. At 2 p.m., my attorney calls. Jake, I filed the countersuit. Harassment, intentional infliction of emotional distress, defamation, tortious interference with property rights. We're asking for $500,000 in damages plus legal fees. Good. What about the criminal angle? I spoke with the county prosecutor. They're interested. Very interested. Especially the embezzlement evidence. But they want more documentation before opening an investigation. They'll have it. Tonight. What's tonight? HOA board meeting. I'm attending. As a concerned community member. And I'm bringing evidence. My attorney sighs. Jake, that's risky. If you make accusations in a public forum, everything I say will be backed by documentation. Bank records. Contracts. County filings. I'm not making accusations. I'm presenting facts. Just be careful. Danielle's a lawyer. She knows how to twist words. So do I. I hang up and start preparing my presentation. Laptop. USB drive with evidence files. Printed documents. Recorder for audio backup. I'm loading everything into my truck when I notice something. The contractor trucks that were here yesterday, putting up orange construction fencing to fence off disputed boundary areas. They're gone. The half-finished fence just abandoned. I walk over. The fencing materials are still here, but no workers. No equipment running. They quit. Word spreading. Contractors don't want to be associated with this mess. Danielle's losing control of her network. Good. At 6 p.m., I shower. Dress in clean jeans and a button-down shirt. Professional, but not threatening. Approachable, but not weak. I'm driving toward Westwood Ridge Community Center when my phone buzzes. Text from unknown number. Don't come to the meeting. Final warning. I screenshot it. Add it to my evidence file. Then I reply, see you in 10 minutes. The community center sits at the base of the mountains. Rustic lodge aesthetic. Stone fireplace. Vaulted ceilings with exposed beams. Cars pack the parking lot. 40, maybe 50 vehicles. Big turnout tonight. I park in the back. Grab my laptop bag. Take a deep breath. This is it. The first public strike. Time to show Danielle Richardson she picked the wrong target. I slip through the community center doors wearing a baseball cap and flannel jacket, trying to blend in. Just another concerned resident. The main hall is packed. 40, maybe 50 people crammed into folding chairs. Families, retirees, young couples, all looking frustrated, tired, angry. These are Danielle's victims. I take a seat in the back row. Set my laptop bag on the floor. Observe. The HOA board sits at a long table up front. Danielle Richardson center stage. Perfectly styled blonde hair, designer blazer, that practiced smile of someone used to controlling rooms. Her sister Margaret to her right. Soft-featured, nervous energy. Brother-in-law Ron to her left. Thick-necked, former college football type. Arms crossed defensively. Elizabeth Morrison at the far end. Dark circles under her eyes. Keeps glancing at the exit. Danielle bangs a wooden gavel. Let's bring this meeting to order. The room quiets, but the tension doesn't. I can feel it. Simmering anger. First order of business, financial report. Margaret. Margaret fumbles with papers. Yes. Monthly revenue from HOA dues, $43,000. Expenses, $41,500. Remaining in reserve fund, $127,000. A hand shoots up. Elderly woman, maybe 70s. Where's the line item breakdown? You just give us total numbers every month. Danielle's smile tightens. Detailed breakdowns are available by request. I've requested them 3 times. Never received anything. Murmurs of agreement ripple through the crowd. Danielle's voice hardens. We'll address that offline. Next item, the Crawford situation. My ears perk up. A younger woman in yoga clothes raises her hand. Why are there garbage bins on someone's property? The smell is reaching my house across the lake. It's disgusting. Mr. Crawford has been non-compliant with community standards for months, Danielle says smoothly. This is a corrective measure approved by the board to encourage compliance. A man in his 40s, contractor type, paint-stained jeans, stands up. What authority do we have over his property? I thought he was outside HOA boundaries. The room shifts. Everyone's suddenly paying closer attention. Danielle's face flashes irritation before the smile returns. The covenant follows the land. The previous owner signed HOA agreements. Those agreements transfer with the deed. I'd like to see that document, I say, standing up. Every head in the room turns. Danielle's face drains of color, then floods red. This is a members-only meeting. You are trespassing. I walk slowly down the center aisle. Calm, confident, every eye on me. Actually, under Washington State HOA law, specifically RCW 64.38.045, all board meetings must be open to community residents. I'm a resident of this community. So let's talk about authority. I reach the front, set my laptop on the side table, pull up my first document, and project it on the wall screen. The venue has a mounted projector. County parcel map. My property highlighted in red. HOA boundaries in blue. Completely separate. My property, parcel 47-92-018, has never been part of Westwood Ridge HOA. Different parcel number. Different legal description. Want to explain why you've been issuing fake violations? The room erupts. Fake violations? He's not even in the HOA? What the hell is going on? Danielle's pounding the gavel. This is out of order. Mr. Crawford is telling the truth. I pull up another document. Here's my title insurance report. No HOA covenant anywhere. Here's the deed history. No HOA covenant. Here's the county boundary survey. My land is 200 feet outside your jurisdiction. People are standing now. Phone's out. Recording. Margaret tries to intervene. This is taken out of context. Is it? Let's talk about context. I pull up the waste management contract. Those garbage bins on my property? Leased from Summit Waste Services for $8,000 monthly. But you told residents it would cost $2,000. Where's the other $6,000 going? The room goes nuclear. $8,000? That's our money. We never voted on this. Danielle's on her feet. Face purple. You have no right to access confidential HOA contracts. Public records request. Took 3 days. I'm clicking through documents now. One after another. Emergency drainage project. $40,000. No county permit filed. No work completed. Roof repairs. $28,000. Roof looks identical to 5 years ago. Landscaping contract with Mountain View Landscaping, owned by Ron Patterson, for $35,000. Triple the market rate. Ron stands up, pointing at me. You need to leave now, or we're calling the police. Great idea. Call them. Because I've already filed reports for harassment, fraud, trespassing, and embezzlement. They're very interested in your operation here. The room is chaos now. Residents shouting. Board members arguing with each other. Someone's crying. Danielle finally finds her voice. Cold. Venomous. Shaking with rage. You think you've won? You think this matters? You have no idea who you're dealing with. This community will destroy you. Every contractor, every service, every delivery. We'll make sure nothing reaches your property. You'll be isolated, alone, miserable. We'll bury you in legal fees until you beg to sell. She's leaning across the table, spitting words like venom. We have connections. We have resources. We have power. And we will use every single ounce of it to make your life a living hell. The room goes dead silent. Everyone's staring at her. This mask-off moment. This glimpse of who she really is. I pull my phone from my pocket, hold it up, recording, every word captured. Thank you, Danielle. That was very enlightening. Her face goes from red to white in an instant. See you in court. I pack my laptop, walk out through stunned silence. Behind me, the meeting dissolves into shouting, accusations, demands for Danielle's resignation. I did what I came to do, expose the truth, turn her own community against her. Now the real war begins. I'm barely out of the parking lot when my phone explodes. Text messages, voicemails, emails, all from HOA residents I've never met. Is this true? Do you have more evidence? How do we remove her from the board? Word spreads like wildfire. Within an hour, the HOA meeting video is posted on Facebook by 3 different people. Within 2 hours, it has 5,000 views. By morning, local news is calling. But I'm not thinking about any of that right now. I'm thinking about what comes next. Because Danielle Richardson doesn't lose gracefully. She doesn't accept defeat. And she just made very specific threats in front of 40 witnesses. I spend the night fortifying my property. Motion sensor lights. Additional security cameras covering every angle. I call the sheriff's department directly. This is Jake Crawford on Timber Ridge Road. I need to report escalating harassment and direct threats made tonight at an HOA meeting. I have video evidence. The deputy actually sounds interested this time. Send us the footage. We'll review. Progress. At midnight, I'm uploading everything to the sheriff's evidence portal when I get an email. From Elizabeth Morrison, the HOA vice president. Subject: we need to talk. Mr. Crawford, what you did tonight was brave. But you need to understand, Danielle won't stop. She can't stop. Because if the full extent of what she's done comes out, she goes to prison. She's desperate. Cornered. That makes her dangerous. I have information. Documents. Proof of things worse than you showed tonight. Can we meet? Privately? Tomorrow. 10 a.m. Mountain View Bakery. Please. Come alone. I stare at the screen. This could be legitimate. A whistleblower ready to turn. Or it's bait. A trap. Danielle trying to gather intelligence or set me up somehow. I forward the email to my attorney with a note, tracking all communications. Meeting in public place. We'll record. Then I reply to Elizabeth. 10 a.m. I'll be there. The response comes within seconds. Thank you. You have no idea what you're walking into. That's what worries me. I finally try to sleep around 2 a.m. But my mind won't shut off. Every noise outside sends my heart racing. Every car passing on the distant road makes me check the cameras. This is what Danielle wants. Fear, paranoia, exhaustion. I won't give her the satisfaction. Morning comes cold and clear. The garbage bins are still on my driveway, day 7 now. But Summit Waste termination notice was delivered yesterday. Danielle has until 5 p.m. today to remove them or face $10,000 daily penalties. Personally, not the HOA. Her. I wonder if she slept at all. I drive to Mountain View Bakery at 9:45 a.m. Small place. Local. Cinnamon rolls and espresso. A handful of regulars reading newspapers. Elizabeth's already there. Corner booth. She looks terrible. Dark circles. Hands shaking around her coffee cup. Hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. This is a woman at the end of her rope. I slide in across from her. Talk. She slides a USB drive across the table. Hands trembling so badly the small plastic rectangle nearly falls off the edge. Danielle's been embezzling HOA funds for 3 years. The drainage project. The roof repairs. The landscaping contracts with Ron's company at triple market rate. It's all fake. Shell companies. Falsified invoices. She's stolen over $200,000. My jaw clenches. Why are you telling me this? Elizabeth's eyes fill with tears. Because she's going to pin it on me. And Margaret. And Ron. We signed documents we never read. Approved budgets without questioning them. She's been setting us up as fall guys while she plans her exit strategy. What's on the drive? Everything. Bank statements. Wire transfers. Emails where she explicitly discusses hiding funds. Invoices from contractors who don't exist. It's all there. I pocket the USB drive. Why not go to the police yourself? Her laugh is bitter. Broken. Because she's a lawyer, Jake. A good one. She'll twist this. Make us look complicit. But you? You're outside the HOA. You have resources. Money. You can expose her without getting destroyed in the process. What does Danielle want with my land? Elizabeth takes a shaky breath. Her law firm represents Cascade Development Group. They want to build luxury condos on the mountain ridge. 50 units. $2 million each. Your property is the access point. The only buildable road up the mountain. She needs you gone. Everything clicks into place. The harassment. The fake violations. The garbage siege. The legal threats. This was never about HOA rules. It was about a $100 million development deal. And Danielle Richardson was willing to destroy my life to get her piece of it. There's something else, Elizabeth whispers. She's planning something. Tonight. At your property. I overheard her on the phone with Ron. Something about solving the Crawford problem permanently. I don't know what. But Jake, be careful. She stands up, leaves cash on the table, walks out without looking back. I sit there holding the USB drive. My mind racing. What's she planning for tonight? I drive home fast. Check every camera. Every sensor. Everything's functioning. I call the sheriff. This is Jake Crawford. I received credible threat information. I need patrol presence tonight at my property. The dispatcher sounds annoyed. Mr. Crawford, we can't spare officers for civil disputes. This is criminal trespassing and potential vandalism. Arson? I don't know. But I'm documenting everything. If something happens and you ignored this call, your department's liable. Legally liable. Silence. Then, we'll increase patrols in your area. It's not enough. But it's something. I spend the afternoon preparing. Checking every angle. Every vulnerability. My workshop, that's the target. I'm sure of it. Months of custom furniture. Expensive tools. Irreplaceable work. If they want to hurt me, that's where they'll strike. I set up additional cameras inside the workshop. Motion sensors on every door and window. I move my most valuable pieces into the house. Then I wait. 5 p.m. comes and goes. The deadline for removing the garbage bins passes. Danielle owes Summit Waste Services $10,000. Tomorrow it'll be $20,000. By next week, $70,000. Personal liability. My phone rings. Marcus Thompson. Jake, she didn't remove the bins. Legal sent the penalty notice. $10,000 assessed to Danielle Richardson personally. She called screaming about lawsuits. Good. Let her scream. Sunset comes. The mountains turn purple and gold. Lake reflecting fire. It's beautiful. Peaceful. And I'm sitting in my dark living room with night vision binoculars, waiting for war. 11:47 p.m. Movement on the access road. 2 trucks. No headlights. Rolling slowly through the darkness. They stop 100 yards from my property line. 4 figures get out. Moving carefully. Deliberately. I grab my phone. Zoom in through the binoculars. Danielle Richardson. I recognize her silhouette immediately. Ron. Margaret. And someone else. Male. Contractor build. They're carrying something. My blood runs ice cold. Gas cans. 5-gallon red containers. 4 of them. They're going to burn my workshop. Destroy everything I've built. My hands shake as I dial 911. This is Jake Crawford, Timber Ridge Road. For individuals trespassing on my property with incendiary devices. Officers needed immediately. This is an active crime in progress. The dispatcher's tone changes instantly. Stay inside, sir. Units responding. ETA 6 minutes. 6 minutes feels like an eternity. The figures move closer. Crouching low. Trying to stay hidden. They reach my workshop. Start dousing the exterior walls with gasoline. The smell hits me even from inside the house. Sharp. Chemical. Deadly. Danielle's directing them like a general. Pointing. Gesturing. Organizing the attack. One of them strikes a match. The tiny flame glows in the darkness. And that's when I flip the switch. Every floodlight on my property explodes on simultaneously. 8 5,000 lumen LEDs. Bright as noon. Bright as prison yard searchlights. They freeze. Completely exposed. Caught in perfect clarity. My voice booms through the outdoor PA speakers. Smile for the cameras, Danielle. Sirens wail in the distance. Getting closer. Getting louder. She looks directly at the nearest camera. Face twisted in pure hatred. Pure rage. Pure desperation. Then she runs. Red and blue lights strobe through the pine trees. 3 sheriff's vehicles screaming up my access road. Deputies pouring out with flashlights and weapons drawn. On the ground. Now, Ron tries to run. Makes it maybe 20 feet before a deputy tackles him into the gravel. Face first. Hands zip-tied behind his back. Margaret's frozen in place. Hands up. Crying. We didn't. I didn't want. She made us. The contractor. Turns out he's Danielle's cousin. drops the gas can and puts his hands up. Smart move. But Danielle? She's still running, sprinting toward her truck parked down the access road. A female deputy cuts her off. Stop. Hands where I can see them. Danielle spins around. And even from my porch, I can hear her screaming. This is entrapment. This is illegal surveillance. I'm an attorney, and I will have every one of your badges. The deputy doesn't flinch. Ma'am, you're on private property with accelerants. That's attempted arson. Turn around. Hands behind your back. I will end you. I will end your career. Do you have any idea who I am? The deputy cuffs her, reads her Miranda rights while Danielle threatens lawsuits against everyone. Sheriff Thompson, the one who's been useless this whole time, finally shows up. Takes one look at the gas cans, the soaked workshop walls, the matches on the ground. Jesus Christ. I walk down from my porch. Calm. Collected. Sheriff, I have everything on camera. Multiple angles. Audio. The whole thing. We'll need copies of all that footage. Already uploading to your evidence portal. Should be there in 20 minutes. Ron's on the ground screaming about how Danielle forced him. How he didn't want to do this. How she threatened his family. Margaret's sobbing. Hyperventilating. The cousin's just silent. Head down. Already lawyered up in his mind. And Danielle? Still screaming threats from the back of the patrol car. Promising legal destruction. Swearing revenge. They load all four into separate vehicles. Drive them away into the night. Sheriff Thompson stays behind. Mr. Crawford, you'll need to come to the station tomorrow. Give a full statement. I'll bring my attorney. He nods. Looks around at my property. The cameras. The lights. The gasoline-soaked walls of my workshop. You knew they were coming. I received a credible warning. I took appropriate precautions. Smart. He pauses. Between you and me, Danielle Richardson's been a problem for a long time. County Commissioner's been wanting to investigate her HOA for years. But she's connected. Protected. Until tonight. He hands me his card. Call if you need anything. And Mr. Crawford? Get some rest. You earned it. I watch his taillights disappear down the mountain. Then I stand there in the silence. My workshop reeks of gasoline, but it's still standing. Still intact. Everything I built. Everything I care about. Safe. I should feel relief. Victory. Vindication. But all I feel is cold rage. Because this isn't over. Not by a long shot. Within 48 hours, the dominoes start falling. Fast and brutal. I file criminal complaints with the county prosecutor. Attempted arson. Criminal trespassing. Stalking. Harassment. Conspiracy to commit property damage. My attorney files expanded civil suits. Against Danielle personally. Against the HOA. Against Ron and Margaret as co-conspirators. $2 million in damages. Emotional distress. Property devaluation. Legal fees. And I hand over Elizabeth's USB drive to the prosecutor. The embezzlement evidence. Bank records showing wire transfers to offshore accounts. Emails discussing falsified invoices. Contracts with shell companies owned by Danielle's relatives. Over $200,000 stolen from HOA residents over 3 years. The prosecutor's eyes light up like Christmas morning. Mr. Crawford, this is extensive. Federal crimes. Wire fraud. Tax evasion. RICO violations potentially. We'll need to involve the FBI. Do whatever you need to do. Within a week, Danielle Richardson's law license is suspended pending investigation. The State Bar opens an ethics inquiry. Her law firm, Richardson and Associates, immediately distances themselves. Press release announcing suspension of partnership pending resolution of criminal allegations. Translation, she's fired. Cascade Development Group, the luxury condo developers, cancels their contract with her. Publicly states they had no knowledge of illegal activities and are cooperating fully with authorities. Her husband files for divorce. Takes the kids. Gets a restraining order. Everything she built. Everything she controlled. Collapsing. And the HOA? Emergency meeting. 85% of residents sign a recall petition. The entire board is dissolved. Interim leadership appointed. They issue me a formal written apology, plus $50,000 settlement for harassment damages. I donated to a legal defense fund for homeowners fighting abusive HOAs. But I'm not done. Not even close. Because I've got one final move. One that'll ensure Danielle Richardson never tries this again. And it's going to be beautiful. Mountain View Bakery. 2 weeks after the arrests. Elizabeth Morrison sits across from me again. She looks different. Lighter. Like a weight's been lifted. Thank you, she says quietly, for protecting my identity with the prosecutor. You did the right thing. Took courage. She nods, sips her coffee. Danielle's attorney tried calling me, threatened me with lawsuits if I testified. Obstruction, conspiracy, all kinds of legal garbage. What did you say? I told him to go to hell. Then I hired my own attorney. I'm cooperating fully with federal investigators. Good. The walls are closing in. There's more you should know, Elizabeth says. About the development deal. Cascade Development wasn't just building condos. They were planning a full resort, hotel, spa, golf course, $300 million project. Danielle stood to make $5 million in legal fees plus equity stake. My stomach turns. $5 million. That's what my life was worth to her. She spent 2 years positioning herself. Bought properties around the mountain through shell companies. Got herself elected HOA president. Manipulated board elections. Built her power base. All for this deal. How many other people did she hurt? Elizabeth's eyes darken. 6 families I know of. Forced out through harassment. Fake violations. Legal pressure. 1 elderly couple. The Hendersons. She drove them to bankruptcy with frivolous lawsuits. They lost their retirement home. My hands clench around my coffee cup. Where are they now? Living with their daughter in Idaho. Broken. Traumatized. Something shifts in me. Cold. Calculating. I need their contact information. And anyone else she victimized. Why? Because Danielle Richardson is about to face every single person she destroyed. In court. Under oath. On record. Elizabeth slides me a piece of paper. 7 names. 7 families. 7 lives ruined. They're scared, Jake. Scared of her connections. Her legal knowledge. Her vindictiveness. They won't be after I'm done. I spend the next week reaching out. Calling each family. Listening to their stories. The Hendersons, forced out over unapproved fence color. $40,000 in legal fees fighting false violations. Lost everything. The Kowalskis, harassed over excessive noise from their kids playing in their own yard. Danielle called CPS repeatedly. False reports. Traumatized the children. The Morgans, accused of running a legal business from home. Complete fabrication. Danielle tanked the husband's security clearance. Cost him his job. Story after story. Lives destroyed. Families broken. All for Danielle's profit. My attorney sets up a class action lawsuit. All 7 families. Plus 12 current HOA residents who were overcharged or defrauded. 19 plaintiffs. Combined damages, $8 million. Danielle Richardson doesn't have that kind of money. Not anymore. Her assets are frozen pending criminal trial. Bank accounts seized. Properties under lien. She's drowning. But I push harder. I contact local media. Regional news. National outlets. HOA president arrested for arson and embezzlement. Victims coming forward. The story goes viral. Reddit picks it up. r/fuck HOA has a field day. The thread gets 50,000 upvotes. Twitter explodes. Hashtag Justice for Crawford trends for 2 days. Local news does a special investigation. The dark side of HOA power. They interview the Hendersons. The Kowalskis. The Morgans. Me. Every victim. Every abuse. Every manipulation. Documented. Public. Permanent. Danielle's reputation is obliterated. Her attorney tries for a plea deal. The prosecutor refuses. Your client committed federal crimes. Destroyed lives. Attempted arson. She's going to trial. Pre-trial hearing is set for 6 weeks out. I attend every court appearance. Sitting in the front row. Staring at her. She won't look at me. Won't make eye contact. Because she knows. She knows I won. But the final victory? The one that makes everything worth it? That comes from an unexpected place. Summit Waste Services. Marcus Thompson calls me on a Tuesday morning. Jake, you sitting down? What's up? Westwood Ridge HOA. Their waste management contract with their previous provider just expired. They're looking for new service. And guess who submitted a bid? I start laughing. Can't help it. You're kidding. 10-year contract. Premium service. Fair rates. And here's the beautiful part. I told them we'd only accept if you personally approve the terms. This is it. The ultimate irony. The final revenge. Set up the meeting. The Westwood Ridge Interim Board meets me at the community center. 3 new members. All residents who stood up against Danielle. All people who signed the recall petition. Tom Hendricks, retired engineer. Honest. No nonsense. Sarah Kim, accountant. Forensic expert who's been auditing the HOA's books. David Chun, attorney who actually practices ethics. They shake my hand. Apologize again. Thank me for exposing the corruption. Mr. Crawford, we want to make this right. The previous board, Danielle's board, they hurt you. Hurt this community. We're rebuilding. New bylaws. New transparency. New accountability. Tom slides a contract across the table. Summit Waste Services submitted the best bid. Best service. Fair pricing. But Marcus said we needed your approval. I read through the terms. 10-year agreement. Standard rates. No games. No manipulation. Just honest business. I have one condition, I say. They tense. Waiting. Every family Danielle Richardson victimized. The ones forced out. The ones bankrupted. The ones harassed. They get compensated from the HOA's reserve fund. Whatever's left after paying back the embezzled money. Sarah checks her audit report. We have approximately $85,000 remaining after restitution. Split 19 ways. That's about $4,500 per family. It's not enough to fix what she destroyed. But it's a start. It's acknowledgement. It's justice. David nods. We can put that to member vote. I think it'll pass unanimously. Then you have a deal. We sign the contracts. Summit Waste Services becomes the official waste management provider for Westwood Ridge HOA. The company I built. The company Danielle tried weaponizing against me. Now serving the community she tried controlling. Poetic justice doesn't even begin to cover it. But I'm not done. Because Danielle Richardson's trial starts next week. And I'm going to be there for every single day. The courthouse is packed. Media everywhere. Cameras. Reporters. This case has captured national attention. Former HOA president faces 47 federal charges. Wire fraud. Embezzlement. Attempted arson. Conspiracy. Stalking. Filing false documents. Tax evasion. 47 counts. Maximum sentence, 35 years. The prosecution is devastating. They parade witness after witness. Bank records. Email evidence. Video footage of the arson attempt. Elizabeth Morrison testifies. Breaks down crying describing how Danielle manipulated her. Used her. Set her up as a fall guy. Ron testifies. Admits Danielle threatened his family. Forced him to participate. He's already pleaded guilty to reduced charges in exchange for testimony. Margaret testifies. Same story. Coercion. Fear. Manipulation. The Hendersons testify. Describing their bankruptcy. Their trauma. Their destroyed retirement. Every victim takes the stand. And I watch Danielle's face through all of it. Sitting at the defense table. Expensive suit. Practice composure. But I see cracks. Tiny fractures in her mask. When they play the video of her directing the arson attempt, her voice clear on audio, make sure it burns completely, her hands shake. When they show the bank records of her offshore accounts, $240,000 embezzled over 3 years, she closes her eyes. When I take the stand and describe the harassment, the threats, the siege, she stares at the table. Won't look at me. Can't look at me. Because she knows. The jury deliberates for 4 hours. Guilty on all 47 counts. The courtroom erupts. Victims crying. Hugging. Finally vindicated. Sentencing comes 2 weeks later. The judge is a woman in her 60s. Sharp eyes. No patience for corruption. Ms. Richardson, you were given power. Authority. Trust. You abused every bit of it. You stole from the people who elected you. You terrorized families. You attempted to burn down a man's livelihood. And you showed no remorse. No accountability. Only entitlement. Danielle's attorney tries to argue. Your Honor, my client has no prior record. Your client is a lawyer who knew exactly what she was doing. Who used her legal knowledge to exploit and manipulate. That makes it worse, not better. The judge looks directly at Danielle. 7 years federal prison. $240,000 restitution. Permanent disbarment. And a lifetime ban from serving on any HOA board anywhere in the United States. 7 years. Danielle's face crumples. Finally, the mask completely shatters. They take her away in handcuffs. And I sit there feeling empty. Not triumphant. Not celebratory. Just done. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm. Microphones. Cameras. Questions shouted from every direction. Mr. Crawford, how does it feel to get justice? What message do you have for other HOA abuse victims? I stop. Look directly at the cameras. If someone's abusing power, document everything. Stand your ground. And don't let bullies win. Ever. That night, I drive home. Up the winding mountain road, past Lake Serenity reflecting stars, to my 4 acres of peace. The garbage bins are long gone. My driveway pristine. Workshop standing strong. Everything exactly as it should be. But the victory feels hollow somehow. Because I realized something. This was never just about me. It was about everyone Danielle hurt. Everyone she would have hurt in the future. And maybe, just maybe, this story will help someone else stand up. Someone else fight back. Someone else refuse to be a victim. That's the real victory. 6 months after Danielle Richardson goes to prison, I'm standing in the Westwood Ridge Community Center again. But this time it's different. Completely different. The room's packed with families. Smiling. Talking. Kids running around. The interim board, now the permanent board after unanimous election, is presenting the compensation checks. Tom Hendricks calls the families forward one by one. The Henderson family, for $1,500 restitution from recovered HOA funds. The elderly couple, the ones driven to bankruptcy, walk up with tears streaming. Mrs. Henderson hugs Tom. Can barely speak. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's not enough money to fix everything. Not nearly enough. But it's acknowledgement. It's justice. It's the community saying, we see what happened to you. We're sorry. We're making it right. One by one, each family receives their check. The Kowalskis. The Morgans. All 7 families forced out. 12 current residents overcharged by fake contracts. When it's done, Sarah Kim stands up. We've also completely restructured our HOA. New bylaws requiring transparency. Monthly financial reports with line item breakdowns. Board term limits. Member oversight committees. And a zero-tolerance policy for harassment. Applause fills the room. David Chin adds, we're also working with state legislators on HOA reform bills. Stronger oversight. Better protections for homeowners. Criminal penalties for board members who abuse power. This is bigger than Westwood Ridge now. This is systemic change. After the meeting, Tom pulls me aside. Jake, we want to do something for you. The community voted. Unanimous decision. He hands me a plaque. Westwood Ridge Community Award. For courage, integrity, and standing up for what's right. You saved this neighborhood. You saved these people. I stare at the engraved words. My hands shaking slightly. I didn't do this for awards. We know. That's why you deserve it. I take it home. Hang it in my workshop next to photos of my custom furniture pieces. A reminder. Not of victory, but of responsibility. The weeks pass. Life returns to normal. Quiet mornings on the porch. Coffee and mountain mist. Summit beside me, tail wagging. But I can't stop thinking about the others. The HOA victims across the country who don't have resources. Who don't know how to fight back. Who suffer in silence. So I do something I never planned on. I start a website. HOAccountability.org. Resources for victims. Legal templates. Documentation guides. State-by-state laws. Attorney referrals. Support forums. Everything I learned fighting Danielle Richardson. Compiled, organized, accessible. Within a month, the site has 10,000 visitors. Within 3 months, 50,000. People sharing their stories. Asking for help. Finding hope. I get emails daily. Your story inspired me to stand up to my HOA. I'm documenting everything now, just like you did. Thank you for showing us we're not powerless. This is the real victory. Not Danielle's prison sentence. Not the compensation checks. Not the media attention. It's empowering people to fight back. To stand up. To refuse being victims. One afternoon, I get a call from a producer at a major streaming network. Mr. Crawford, we want to do a documentary. About HOA abuse. About your case. About systemic reform. Would you participate? Only if we include the other victims. This isn't my story alone. Absolutely. The documentary films over 6 weeks. Interviews with victims. Legal experts. Reform advocates. Footage of Danielle's trial. The aftermath. It premieres 9 months after her conviction. Goes viral immediately. Netflix picks it up. 5 million views in the first week. State legislatures start passing HOA reform bills. Inspired by the documentary. Inspired by the stories. Colorado. Washington. Oregon. California. Texas. Stronger oversight. Financial transparency requirements. Criminal penalties for fraud and harassment. Real change. Systemic change. And I realized something sitting on my porch watching the sunset over Lake Serenity. Danielle Richardson tried to destroy me to protect her corruption. But in attacking me, she exposed herself. Exposed the system. exposed the problem. Her worst fear, losing control, became the catalyst for reform she couldn't stop. That's the ultimate irony. She created her own downfall. And maybe that's how it always works. Bullies overreach. Tyrants push too far. Corruption eventually collapses under its own weight. You just have to stand your ground long enough to watch it happen. My phone buzzes. Text from Marcus Thompson. Summit Waste just signed 15 new HOA contracts, all requesting Crawford's standard transparency clauses. You're changing the industry, man. I smile. Text back. We're changing it. Together. Because that's the thing about fighting corruption. You can't do it alone. You need whistleblowers like Elizabeth, allies like Marcus, attorneys like David, communities like Westwood Ridge, everyone playing their part, everyone refusing to accept abuse as normal. That's how you win. Not through individual heroism, through collective action. The sun dips below the mountain ridge, sky turning deep purple, stars beginning to emerge. Summit nudges my hand. Wants dinner. I stand up, look out at my 4 acres. My dream, my peace. Still here, still standing, still mine. And tomorrow I'll wake up and keep fighting, keep advocating, keep helping others stand up. Because Danielle Richardson taught me something valuable. When someone tries to break you, and you refuse to break, you become stronger than they ever imagined. And that strength, that's what changes the world. 6 months later, I'm standing on the same porch where this nightmare began. Coffee steaming in my hands. Morning mist rolling off Lake Serenity. Mountains glowing in sunrise light. But everything's different now. Fundamentally different. Danielle Richardson is in federal prison. Year 2 of her 7-year sentence. I don't think about her much anymore. She's become irrelevant. A cautionary tale. Nothing more. The HOA? Transformed. Tom Hendricks sends me quarterly reports, detailed financial breakdowns, community updates, member satisfaction surveys. 94% approval rating. Westwood Ridge is actually functioning like a community now, supporting each other instead of controlling each other. The 7 families Danielle forced out, 3 have moved back, bought properties in the neighborhood. The Hendersons just closed on a house 2 streets over. They invited me to their housewarming, cried when they thanked me, said they never thought they'd feel safe here again. Summit Waste Services? Thriving. The Crawford Standard, full financial transparency, ethical practices, community partnership, has become industry practice. Marcus says we're turning down contracts from HOAs that won't commit to transparency, and we're profitable doing it. The documentary? Nominated for an Emmy. Used in law school ethics courses. Referenced in state legislative hearings. Changed the conversation about HOA reform nationwide. But here's the beautiful part. The real revenge. The thing that makes everything worth it. Remember the development deal? Cascade Development Group's $300 million luxury resort? Dead. Cancelled. Abandoned after the scandal. But the land is still there. The mountain ridge. The pristine wilderness Danielle wanted to pave over for profit. Last month, I bought it. All 200 acres. Using money from my waste management sale. Using leverage from my newfound reputation. Using connections I've built fighting this battle. And yesterday, I signed the papers donating it. All of it. To the state park system. Protected wilderness. Forever. No development. No condos. No resort. Just mountain and forest and wildlife. The Park Service is naming it Serenity Ridge Conservation Area. Public hiking trails. Wildlife preservation. Educational programs. Everything Danielle wanted to destroy, saved. Permanently. That's poetic justice. She tried so hard to profit from this land. Destroyed lives for it. Went to prison for it. And it's now protected forever. Beyond anyone's greed. Beyond anyone's control. I think about that sometimes. How corruption defeats itself. How abuse creates its own opposition. How tyranny plants the seeds of its own destruction. Danielle Richardson had power. Money. Connections. Legal knowledge. Every advantage. And she lost. Completely. Utterly. Permanently. Not because I was stronger, but because she forgot the fundamental rule. You can have all the power in the world, but when you abuse it, when you hurt people for greed, when you let ego override ethics, when you treat people as obstacles instead of humans, eventually, karma finds you. And sometimes, karma drives a garbage truck. I take a sip of coffee. Summit's at my feet, tail thumping contentedly. The lake is glass still. Perfect reflection of mountains and sky. This is peace. Real peace. Not the fragile kind that depends on everyone leaving you alone, but the deep kind that comes from standing your ground, from fighting back, from refusing to be broken. My phone buzzes. Email from HOAccountability.org. Another victim reaching out. Another person finding hope. Another fight beginning. I'll help them, just like people helped me. Because that's what this was always about. Not revenge. Not victory. Not even justice, really. It was about refusing to let bullies win. About standing up when standing up matters. About protecting the next person. And the person after that. That's how you change systems. One fight at a time. One stand at a time. One person refusing to be a victim at a time. Danielle Richardson tried to bury me. Tried to break me. Tried to force me off my own land. Instead, she buried herself. And elevated everyone she tried to destroy. That's the ultimate irony. The perfect ending. The villain defeated by her own villainy. The hero strengthened by surviving the battle. The community healed through collective action. And me? I'm just a guy drinking coffee on his porch, watching the mountains, living his dream. Still here, still standing, still free. Exactly where I belong. I raise my coffee cup toward the mountain ridge, toward Serenity Ridge Conservation Area, toward the wilderness saved from greed. Cheers, Danielle. Thanks for the motivation. Summit barks. Wants to go hiking. I grab my boots. We head out into the morning, into the forest, into the peace I fought so hard to protect. And I realize something profound. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's building something better, creating something beautiful, protecting something worth protecting. Danielle wanted to take. I chose to give. She wanted to control. I chose to liberate. She wanted profit. I chose preservation. That's the difference between corruption and integrity, between tyranny and freedom, between taking power and earning respect. She lost because she played a selfish game. I won because I played a bigger one. And that bigger game? It continues. Every day, every fight, every person standing up. That's the real story. Not my victory, but our collective refusal to accept abuse as normal. If this story hit home, if you've ever faced an abusive HOA, a corrupt authority, or someone who thought they could break you, drop a comment below. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me your story. Because every comment, every share, every person speaking up adds to the movement. You're not alone in this fight. We're building something together. Accountability, justice, and the courage to stand up. Let's keep this conversation going. Comment now and let's connect.